weekend.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Witch's Craft. We're sorry, first and foremost, we're sorry that we kind of had to push it to one day behind. We'll do our best to keep it on Fridays from here on out. So, it's been a whirlwind, but we're back in it. We're gonna take on this, and hopefully, you guys will enjoy tonight's episode, which is Sister Moon. We are approaching pretty big event of the year. We'll talk about it a little bit. And we just wanted to kind of explore a little bit more what the significance of the moon is in our traditions, in our current customs. What is the power that the moon holds? What is the difference between that and working with the sun? Also, we want to talk about like who is really involved when it comes to the different pantheons, and we're going to see that there's quite a few deities that a lot of you might not be familiar with. Honestly, I started learning about these just earlier as we were putting this together, so it's like okay.
So, yep. And hopefully Joe's technical difficulties are a little bit better throughout this because he did have some tough
Magically protected garage goblin. So, Gwen, what have we got going on this week? And I believe you also have the tarot of the month. What have we got?
We've got a couple of things coming up. We're going to be nothing this very weekend. Although next week is the monthly show out front. So that's the monthly psychic fair and healing arts fair. And mostly we're just kind of having a little calm week before we start in with the holiday season. And our holiday season starts on right before October 31st. Samhain, also known as Halloween for those die-in-the-wood Halloween fans. But yeah, so we're kind of, this is sort of where it starts to get fun for all of us. And yeah.
Okay.
So, and what I also have is the tarot of the month. We're gonna kind of do the tarot of the month the first week of the month. So, and normally I would pick something more interesting, but since it's the first one, this is the Rider-Waite deck, right? And it's, as you can see, I do use this. I will use this if I'm doing a party. I'll use the Rider-Waite deck because it's replaceable. Very, very interesting, neat cards. The back standard, you got 78 cards and 4 major suits. And then you have the major arcana, which is 22 cards from the Fool on up to the World, which is everything you ever wanted, kind of. What I also thought I would do here is I would show you the Apprentice Tarot. And this one will be out for sale. It's brand new, but I'm going to pull it out for this, and we'll give $1 off to anybody that buys it this week because it's the open deck for right now. But I'll be taping it up so that it can't be opened. What I like about this one is for people that are beginners, you have, I don't know if you can see this, but let me make this a little bigger so that it's a little bit bigger here. And sorry, Joe, I'm just going to take you off the screen there for just a second.
No.
Yes. In the background here, I know what I can do. Make it like this. No. Sorry. I'm
No.
trying to not take you off the screen. I hit the wrong button. Anyway, I hear no in the background. So if you notice how these cards, they are exactly like the Rider-Waite deck. But the difference between this and the Rider-Waite deck, which, oh my God, what did I do with it? Is that, okay, we'll just find the Broken Heart one so you just can see how actually similar it is. Okay, here's the Rider-Waite Broken Heart, and here's the Apprentice deck. Notice it is the same card. This one's a little more worn and slightly yellowed. This is slightly cleaner. The back is different, but it's the same card. The difference is if I'm learning this deck and I go and I'm trying to do a layout and I'm looking at it, it says on the front of it, Three of Swords, right side up, pain, distress caused by mental anguish, hurtful words, betrayal, cruelty, and upside down, emotional recovery, slow healing, less intense sorrow, apology, and forgiveness. Well, that is, in fact, what this card means. Why did I pick this card? Because it was the first one that fell out of the other deck. So if I'm pulling a card from this deck and I have to learn tarot, it means that I don't have to every time run over to a little book and go through the meanings and read it like this. I can very quickly move through the cards and learn them like flashcards. So when I get people in here that want to know, well, what does the Fool mean? What's the beginning of a journey? Fresh start, spontaneous, carefree, pure, naive, inexperienced beginner, boundless potential. Reverse, immature, foolish, gullible, irresponsible, impulsive. What's your step? Why? Because he's falling off a cliff. Okay. So I can look these things up and I can do a reading very quickly. Now, there's another aspect to these cards. Some people are trying to cut their chops on professional readings, and so they go onto an online service and they sign up as a reader to do tarot, and they're not bad readers, but they panic in the middle of a reading because they can't remember the cards. And if you're doing that, you do not have time to go, hold on while I look that up. So here it is. You can do quick spreads. The card spreads are here. And you can have a 5-card spread, which is, I'm trying to put it in the middle here. So it has different spreads, but the most important thing is you literally can just look at a cheat sheet, and it doesn't really come with the booklet, but you don't have to have the booklet because it's right on the card. So I'm a big fan of using this kind of deck to learn with, or if you're trying to do phone readings and you're not sure of your skills and you're kind of new at it. We have this, and we also have the starter deck. So that's my tarot deck of the month. And also, too, it's a little bit more sepia in color than the Rider-Waite deck, which is a little bit brighter yellow. So it's a little gentle. I like that deck. Do I use it? Well, I'm kind of past that, but if I had a moment where I had to go on the phone or something, I might. I have a different one that I use, but anyway, that's my tarot of the deck. So it's a good thing. Something new. And Joe, back to you. So there we go. And we've also got.
I do believe it is time that we get into the real meat of tonight's discussion, which is the moon. So, the biggest question, and I know I came across that when I was starting out. So, why is the moon so significant in our craft? So, Gwen, what can you tell us about that?
Well, there's a lot of energy in the moon. People talk about drawing down the moon and so on. But if you really think about why the moon is important, Um, our bodies are 90% water. There's a tidal pole, there's planetary shifts. So when you think about what it is that the planet does, the moon pulls the water. Women, we get on your cycle. What is it? It's a lunar cycle. If your body is really healthy, you're on a lunar clock every month. What happens till you age out and it's not necessary anymore? If you plant according to, like, there are certain things you can't plant during certain moon phases. It's what the Farmer's Almanac is about. And I'm probably the worst person to talk about that because I don't have a green thumb at this point. Um, it, but there's a whole rhythm to life, and the rhythm is tied with the moon and the planets and the stars, and there's this energy that comes with it, and it's also divine feminine. So we draw our life from the sun, but the moon guides us. So that is, and it's also nice to do a ritual outside of in moonlight.
Or when there's a lack of it. Also, there's what we're going to talk about
Yep.
during the new moon magic as well. So,
Yep.
excuse me. And I will apologize to you guys. With full transparency, if it seems at some point I have zoned out, it's not that I've totally zoned out. It's just the fact that my connection is not that great, and the screen is kind of going blank here. So I do apologize ahead of time, just letting you guys know. But we're gonna power through this. So,
And it will get better, hopefully.
so um, it's just kind of uh, not really reiterate it, but to emphasize that. I mean, that's this is a symbol that like shows up constantly. It's the moon. You have the triple moon. You have, always the full moon. I mean,
Hmm.
on designs, on pendants, it's there.
And the triple moon is represents the three phases of the goddess: maid, mother, and crone. And so we always have
Different
we
cultures
have
that
that
actually have this.
representation.
Right.
Well,
I'm sorry, it cut out. So when I again,
it's a
you're
thing.
talking over me. You're talking over me. So
Yeah, well, that's because you kind of, but
yeah,
the maid, mother, and crone is the three faces. So
right. So all right. And let's go ahead and talk about those different faces. Really want to go into um, the different cultures, the different areas of the world, and as you guys have seen already, we like to do that. We like to uh, not pick apart, but actually like throw in different flavors of these same concepts that like show up in different cultures. So we just we want to make sure that we are encompassing and honoring all of the other cultures that are around the world, the ones that are not, as closely connected with us. I mean, we're finding ways to actually have them connected. So, um, in this respect, let's go ahead and look at some of the deities. Originally, it was just going to be goddesses, but when I started looking through this, found out that there were some uh, pretty strong gods as well. And we're gonna actually gonna start off with one of those. Um,
we lost Joe for just a second, but he'll be right back. His connection's been a bit spotty, so we're working on that, getting it right back. So normally we don't have
oh
these technical inputs, but there we go. You're back at the Alinek. Alinek.
yes,
Okay.
uh, Alinek, I believe it is. And so we're gonna start off to the north. This is from the Inuit peoples. This one, Alinek is the god of both the moon and weather. He controls the tides and presides over both earthquakes and eclipses. Now, in some stories, he's also responsible for returning the souls of the dead to the earth.
Mhm.
so that they may be reborn. So reincarnation, he's a big part of that. Um, he may appear in harbors to protect fishermen from Setna, who is a wrathful sea goddess. And actually, side note, if we can do that, if we can take maybe one episode to kind of like explore the deities of the sea, that would be awesome. I would love that.
That would be
But
great.
with the moon, with the moon, according to legends, Alinak and his sister became deities after they committed incest and were banished from the earth. Alinak was sent up to become the god of the moon, and his sister became goddess of the sun. This just little tiny little detail.
Tiny little details, which unfortunately we're cutting out again, Joe. But he'll be right back with that tiny little detail.
I think it's come back to us.
He has to come back to us.
A,
There we go. That tiny little detail. Sorry.
sorry. So that tiny detail, um, in the Norse pantheon, you have Freyr and Freya, I believe, who are also brother and sister, and their custom is also incestuous. That's totally
There's
different.
a lot of that in
Totally
these
different story. Right.
legends.
So it's kind of strange that that actually kind of comes up. Um, but again, that's obviously there was something there to kind of, you know, have that be ingrained in the in their legends, in their myths. So going from the north all the way down to the south, we have uh, Coyolxauhqui. Coyolxauhqui is often referred to as the Aztec moon goddess, who emerges as a prominent figure within the Aztec cosmology. She's depicted as a fierce warrior and a leader. She commands attention and interest as a central character in numerous mythological narratives. Um,
And um, one of the things that we're gonna keep on having today is a little bit of these difficulties getting through with what we're talking about.
not
Only
one who
there we
she's
go.
not one who kind of stands by. Um, she's got that strength. She's a powerful one, and she leads her siblings in a rebellion against their mother, Porlique. Now, her defiance and subsequent defeat at the hands of Huitzilopochtli, they carry the profound symbolism, reflecting the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth in Aztec beliefs. So, so she rebels against her mother and is defeated, and she is, I believe, decapitated and dismembered. Um, and her defeat serves as a reminder of the powers that Huitzilopochtli possessed and the protective nature that he offered to the Aztec people. And she represents both the challenges and consequences faced when opposing divine forces. And it's a cautionary tale for those who dared challenge the gods in Aztec society. So, um, and as I said, she is actually torn apart, and this is emphasizing the consequences of her rebellion. Symbolically, she represents more than a defeated.
She represents more than a defeated goddess, and the connection between the moon and the femininity and the natural world. So, what Joe is saying here is that she really is like the ebb and flow of time,
As
and
a lunar
and the
deity, yeah,
nurturing.
yes, she represents the ebb and flow of time, the nurturing and transformative aspects of femininity, and the cyclical nature of the cosmos. So
There's kind of a similarity between her and some of, there's a lot of the myths and legends similarity between them.
Right. So let's hop over to China, actually, and you have Chang'e. And this was a character who was married to the king, and although he was once known as a great archer, later Hu Yi was the name of the king. He became tyrannical, and he spread death and destruction wherever he went. You know, he became uh, just really mad with power. So the people starved and were brutally treated. And he himself, he greatly feared death. So a healer gave him a special elixir that would allow him to live forever.
Hmm.
Now, Chang'e knew that for Huyu to live forever, that would be a terrible thing. Obviously, we don't want, that tyranny.
Yeah, you don't want tyranny to last forever. We know about that. So, so when what Joe is saying is that they definitely didn't want him to live forever.
Right.
So, so then
So
what did he do? Stole the potion?
she went in, and while he slept, she stole the potion. When he saw her and demanded that she return the potion, she immediately drank the elixir, and she was able to fly up to into the sky as the moon, where she remains to this day. So in some Chinese stories, she's this perfect example of someone making a sacrifice for the greater good to save others. So um,
Yeah.
that's honorable. That's like a very light story, still sad, but still on the lighter side.
Well, she
Then you
absolutely
have
couldn't let them have that potion and
right.
was doing what she needed to do to keep the world safe as it should be.
Well, we go from the lighter side of the legends and myths to the darker one,
Hmm.
the one everybody knows around here. That is Hecate, and
Do they
she was,
know?
yes, we might know her. Um, she's really strict teacher.
She's a venerated and she's strict. And she was originally venerated as the mother goddess. And so during the Ptolemaic period in Alexandria, she was elevated to her position as the goddess of ghosts and of the spirit world. And there's, yeah.
So, so many, contemporary pagans and Wiccans, they honor her in her guise as the dark goddess. Um, Although it would be incorrect to refer to her as an aspect of the crone, because her connection to both childbirth and maidenhood. So she's more the teacher for the younger ones.
Mhm.
It's more likely that her role as a dark goddess comes from her connection to the spirit world, ghosts, um, the dark moon, which again we're going to talk about, and the magic. So, um, of course, the poet Hesiod tells us that Hecate is the only child of Asteria, a star goddess who was the aunt of Apollo and Artemis, who we're also going to discuss. The event of Hecate's birth was tied to the reappearance of Phoebe, the lunar goddess, who appeared during the darkest phase of the moon. So that's just a little bit of Hecate. Um, Please don't be mad at me. I got any of it wrong. Okay.
I think Hecate would like people to know more about her, so I feel that she would be okay with this. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not. But we're also going to talk a little bit about Luna, who is a Roman god. And you know that word lunatic and lunar and all that stuff that comes from Luna. And and she's her domain is sort of the personification of the moon and the guardian of the night and divine counterpart to Sol, the sun. And so, if you think about what the symbols are that we think about, like the crescent moon, the chariot being pulled by two horses and a torch and a veil and a full moon face. So she is very divine, and she serves as the divine embodiment of its celestial presence. She's also depicted in a similar way as Selene, who is a beautiful woman with a crescent moon on her forehead, symbolizing her connection to the lunar sphere. So we all have seen that image, but that image is so cross cultural. There's so many other images that are so similar, so we don't think about that. Selene was the sister of Helios, the Greek god of the sun god, and priestesses and people would pay tribute to her on the days of the full moon. So, like many Greek goddesses, she had a number of different aspects, and at one point she was worshipped as Phoebe, the huntress, and also identified as Artemis. And Joe, what about Artemis? We've lost Joe again. We love Joe. Joe is not really lost. He is here with us.
He's lost in thought and maybe concentration.
There he
It's
is.
okay.
Artemis. What do you have to say about Artemis, Joe?
Actually, we had a couple of other ones. But I guess we
Well,
can go over to. Right, we
we
had Cena, we had but yeah, let's go to over to Artemis.
yeah.
Um, and she is, of course, the Greek goddess of the moon,
Mm-hmm.
the hunt and wild animals and childbirth. She embodies independence, protection, and the untamed spirits of nature. Um, I'll personally attest to this in a moment. She's typically depicted as a young huntress wearing a short tunic and carrying a bow and a quiver.
Mm-hmm.
She's often shown with a deer or hunting dogs, emphasizing her role as the goddess of the wilderness and protector of animals. And she's also associated with chastity and is considered a guardian of young girls until marriage. She was not originally a moon goddess, though. Originally, she was the Greek moon. I'm sorry. Originally, the Greek moon goddess again was Selene, and the Greek personification of the moon. Over time, their roles kind of merged, and Artemis also began to.
She also she began to be more of a moon goddess. Now, one of the things that I remember from classes years ago is that a lot of the Greek goddesses
Little side
sort of
story.
became Roman goddesses. So, yeah.
So, really quick, side story with Artemis. There was a point where I'm still kind of starting out with with learning which days were going to work with me, and I had this one particular dream where I was on the steps of what looked like a university, um, and all of a sudden there was this young girl that she looked maybe early 20s, early to mid 20s. Um, she walked right in front of me. She looked um, very much the hipster girl. She was very much the hipster girl. She had glasses. She was carrying her books. She had a beanie, um, and she didn't say anything. She just kind of she didn't look at me. She just kind of stopped, and I just had the sense of like, okay, there has to be three things, um, and there were three candles. Um, and again, she didn't say anything. It's just that's the sense that I got, and then she just walked off carrying her books as if she was going off to class. So next day, I actually did a meditation. I'm like, okay, who is this? Who's telling me that I need three candles, three brown candles?
Maid, mother, and crone. He'll get back there. I would imagine that's the 3 phases of the moon that he's getting at there, but we'll have to wait until he unfreezes because
And
there we go. So you've got the brown candles, right?
right. So it had the candles, did a little bit of meditation,
Mhm.
and then the true image came through of a woman holding a bow and arrow.
Mm.
And so I thought, okay, was were you Artemis? Is this you? Is this who's trying to work with me? And yeah, she drew that bow and that arrow. Like, oh, okay, that's that's a pretty good signal.
Yep,
Um,
that's a
and the
good
intention
message.
the intention there was that I needed to be careful for what was on the horizon. So I needed to look out for there was going to be some sense of danger or some kind of malice that I needed to look out for. And thankfully, through her assistance, I was able to circumnavigate that. I never saw anything in particular with one individual. Um, I guess I must have done things right. So she was watching over me.
There
So
you go.
um, so yeah, that is my little story with Artemis. So
Well, you never
um,
know where these things go, you know.
you really don't. You really don't. I've seen Odin as this like
Um, well, I don't know how you've seen Odin, but I had a parrot named Odin, and he was flying all around this office. The cage was right behind me,
I
and
mean, that face is perfect. Like, if I was staring at Odin, I too would just be slack-jawed. Like, what's going on here?
well, we that's a good thing. We have our own magically protected um, peanut gallery who is going to pipe in when we have a moment of lapse of silence because we love our technical difficulties. And
of
Joe,
course.
we're so glad you're persevering. it's,
It's
Okay.
fine.
it's
So
See,
work.
what happened was, tequila has been cursed with the gift of pantomime today, and therefore, as soon as the connection starts to go fix itself, it's going to be great.
yes.
He's going to be able to do this, and then
It
we,
So,
was
in the
really good.
meantime, enjoy the comedic facial expressions.
that's
Oh,
it. Try not to. Go on, Joe. You had your experience with Odin.
oh no, that's it. That could definitely be for another time. We have Sina though, the Polynesian deity. I believe you have some stuff on her.
I have a little bit of stuff on Sina. Sina is known as she's really a very well-known Polynesian deity, and she resides within the moon itself, and she's a protector of those who might travel at night, which makes sense because it's a lot easier to travel with the full moon. Originally, she lived on Earth, but she got tired of the way her husband and family treated her, and so she packed her belongings and left to go live on the moon. And
Girl, same.
you know what? I get that sometimes. Like, come on,
That
I
is a whole vibe right there.
thing, right? And so she packed her bags and she left to go live on the moon. And according to the Hawaiian legend, because she's a little bit in the Hawaiian legend, in Tahiti, the story goes that Sina or Hina simply got curious about what it was like on the moon. So she paddled her magical canoe until she got there. Remember, the moon sets on the water, right? And then once she had arrived, she was struck by the moon's tranquil beauty and decided to stay. So, okay, so looking at that on a purely physical level, like she's like, hey guys, I'll see you later. And she just kept rowing out the ocean. I understand that too. Who knows? She could have come to the coast of California if she gotten far enough. People did.
So she pulled a full Moana and just sailed off to the moon.
She sailed all the way off. That's it. So, yeah. But along with a lot of legends, there might be a grain of truth to that one. I get it. And we were looking at some of the aspect goddesses, and this does remind me a lot of the Egyptian pantheon as far as various different, things go. And you were going to talk about Kansu.
Konsu, yes.
So
One moment, please. Technical difficulties.
the
Please stand by.
spinning. But Joe looks so intensely intelligent at the moment that it's like I think he can
There we
hear
go.
Welcome back, Professor. Please educate us.
me while he's frozen. Like he can hear me. Go on.
So Konsu, the moon, time, healing, protection, fertility, childbirth, travel, night, exorcism, divine judgment, kingship, celestial navigation, fate, rejuvenation, oracles, and transformation. He's
Wow,
got his hands full.
that
Um,
is true.
his
That is
his
one long CV. My goodness.
oh yeah.
That's it.
So his symbols are, the crescent moon again, and a sidelock of youth, also a falcon.
Hmm.
Um, so interesting thing with him, he didn't start off as a benevolent god. Um, he was actually the way that I know is that he was one of the most rampant, ravenous, actually god killers. He was known for eating the hearts of the other gods.
So we
And
started on a villain era. Okay, got it.
oh yeah.
Well,
Um,
look at Setmet. She does tame down into Bastet, but but she
oh
did
yeah.
eat her way across the population and
Mhm.
sucking the blood. Yummy. Okay, go on, because I knew he froze. So we're at God of Moon. He's okay. So when you say the cat was eating people across across time and
Time.
space,
There we go.
and Joe's like, he's probably
Yep.
picturing his cat doing the same thing. I
All
can
right.
see it, yeah.
So time, healing, worship primarily in Thebes as part of the Theban triad alongside Amun and Muns. His name means traveler, a reference to the moon's journey across the night sky. He was believed to influence time, fertility, and protection, and his cycles helped determine the Egyptian calendar.
Mhm.
So his mythology highlights his role as a healer and protector. Um, in some texts, he's described as a powerful god capable of driving out evil spirits, and his influence was sought in medical and purification rituals. His association with the moon also linked him to regenerative forces, reinforcing his connection to fertility and childbirth. Some depictions often show him as a youth with a side lock of hair. So think the Jedi Padawans with the braid on the side.
Mhm.
Um, and also wearing a lunar disc and a crescent above his head. In some representations, he appears falcon headed, resembling Horus, further associating him with divine kinship. His temple at Karnak is known as the Temple of Khonsu. Uh,
And that was a major center of his worship, and his influence persisted into many later religious traditions in Egypt. And I know I know that Joe is going to say a little bit more about his how that temple became continued onwards.
well, not so much the temple, but
Worship.
there is an iteration of him. And once again, here's the nerdy which comes out. Um, if anyone has not seen the Marvel show on Disney Plus, Moon Knight, that is a really, really awesome interpretation of Khonshu, although they changed it slightly to Khonshu. And there he's depicted as this really, really tall, lanky skeleton. He has a staff with the crescent moon, and his head is actually the skull. Although it kind of looks more like a raven than a falcon, but um,
And the
but
pronunciation may be either or too, because we
right.
don't really know. So
And so, but in that series, they bring about a lot of those characteristics. That's again why I love the Marvel stuff, because they do their homework and make sure that they are true to the actual source material. Um, he does in fact affect the passage of time. Um, there is one point where they're trying to figure out the positions of the stars.
The
Um,
stars.
there's a lot of different mythology out there, and Joe will recover himself in just a minute. We're going to come back next week with no tech problems. Crossing fingers. I'm going to cross my eyes. There we go. I can still do that, maybe.
So yeah, that was, like I said, one iteration of Kansu. That I loved that. Also his uh, working with exorcisms helped me out a lot, particularly where I was before. There was a lot of rampant paranormal activity. Well, guess what? I actually had a little skull that was a raven skull, and I affiliated that with Kansu, and I put him in charge. Anybody who comes into the house, eat him. Literally, that's what I told him. You
Some
feel
people are Hekate too. Just saying.
Yeah.
I know.
Said,
I know one of my friends is listening to me. She's laughing right now.
well, it helped because for that 1 year, everything seemed to kind of die down. Everybody either
So,
he ate them or they stayed away. So that helps. So that's Kansu. Um, really close one that I love to work with. So now you have money.
I do, and Mani is Norse. It's interesting because the name is so close to mana, which is the Hawaiian word for, life force, right? But so Mani, which is a Norse god, is the personification of moon. Again, timekeeper of the night. The symbols are the crescent moon, and again, chariots pulled by horses. You're kind of starting to see a theme that some of these religions are very similar, and they're maybe some reasons why these pantheons are similar. So Mani is the Norse god of the moon, revered in Old Norse mythology as the brother of Sol, the sun goddess. He was believed to guide the moon across the night sky, pursued by the wolf Hati, who sought to devour him. And his name, which means moon in Old Norse, reflects the celestial domain. And then Mani was believed to regulate time by determining the movement of the moon and was associated with the creation of the lunar calendar, which was very central to Viking society. And of course, because they were seafaring and they guided their boats by night. So they, the stars, dead reckoning is a thing. You didn't have compasses back then, not really. So there's not a lot known about his direct worship, but his importance is evident in like the poet Edda, the poems of Voluspa and Grimanasmal. And I'm not going to say that right, but we know some of those that there are some well done reiterations of that out there in the world at this point. And there are also in the prose Edda, where he is described as a divine charioteer who carries the moon across the sky. So we have enough of the Norse mythology and some of the older texts that even though we don't know how directly he was worshipped, but there are references out there, so it's kind of cool. And I'm
Okay, that little hiccup was actually perfectly timed because right when I went out, there was some crazy sounding vehicle that just passed by. So we're good. You guys didn't get that.
You know what? They're just working on your Wi-Fi.
Yep.
it'll be okay.
It'll be
So yeah.
Mawu.
Well, Mawu.
Yes.
I've got to think that has something to do with a cat. Why? Mao. Sorry.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Those her. Those Gwen. That was not me.
That was me. I said it. Yeah, that's a West African god and goddess rather,
Mhm.
and her domain is the moon, creation, and wisdom. And her symbols are the crescent moon and the serpent. And by the way, there are quite a lot of serpents on that continent. So, you know, you have to be wise to handle them, right? So she is a West African goddess, and she's primarily worshipped by the Fon people of the Dahomey region, which is present day Benin. And she is often linked to concepts of coolness, peace, and maternal care. And in contrast to the sun deity Lisa, with whom she forms a divine duality. Um, she appears in the Voodoo, which is the voodoo traditions, and where she's part of the supreme creator deity Maulise, which in this cosmology, Mau represents the moon and the feminine energy, while Lisa embodies the sun and the masculine power. And a lot of religions tend to see the sun as masculine. So just pointing that out, that there's a lot of, because we draw our life from the sun, right? Together, they govern the balance of the universe, with Mao ruling over the night, wisdom, and fertility. Now, while the modern interpretations highlight her lunar aspects, Mao's primary role in traditional mythology extends beyond the moon, and she's seen as a creator, and she's responsible for forming the world, bringing life and order to the cosmos. She's associated with coolness and rest, and further strengthens her connection with the moon, which brings relief from the sun's heat. Now, in a continent like Africa, where we tend to associate there's a lot of hot areas, that makes some sense to have a night deity represent a cooling off, for sure, along with just having that duality. So that makes sense. Do you want to talk about Chandra, or do you want me to talk about Chandra?
No, you can go ahead and take Chandra. I just wanted to point out really quick that if you guys haven't seen the pattern already, all of these, or almost all of them, have the
We're going to wait on that thought, because Joe's going to come right back, because he's going to say something important right now. And you can tell this because of the way his face is frozen in this very smart look. He's about to think. There it is. Joe is back. Sorry. I'm teasing a little bit.
No,
we can't not make light of the fact that you froze at that moment.
oh yeah.
Say what it is.
So yeah, no, just pointing out the symbolism. Yeah, the crescent moon. It most of these just kind of had that symbol. It's never, it's not another phase
No,
for some reason. It's always that crescent. So
that's that renewal.
yeah. So Chandra, please.
Chandra, also known as Soma, and Soma, I think, often represents sleep, right? But Soma is the Hindu god of the moon, and one of the Navagrahas, which are the 9 celestial deities who influence fate and cosmic order. His name means shining or illustrious, reflecting his role as the illuminator of the night sky. And then Chandra is deeply connected to the timekeeping, as the traditional Hindu calendars are lunar based, and he governs emotions, intuition, and fertility. Now, I want you to think about how all of these lunar gods and goddesses, they tend to share these similarities. It's so fascinating. We talk about separateness between people, but really look at how similar these all are. According to Hindu mythology, Chandra rides a chariot. There it is again, pulled by 10 white horses, sometimes depicted sometimes as antelope. And he moves across the sky, and he's closely linked to the elixir of immortality. Elixir of immortality. There we go again. Soma, which he both embodies and presides over, making him an essential figure in the Vedic rituals and plant medicine. His influence extends to agriculture, growth cycles, the tides, reinforcing his importance in both celestial and earthly balance. Now, noticing about this part of this elixir of immortality, did we hear a little bit about that in the Chinese religion? I'm starting to see some patterns. How about Artemis? We're back to Artemis and the Wild Hunt. Or we did.
Well, uh, I mean, we did discuss Artemis. Actually, what we should do is go to the well. Before we do that, yeah, it's kind of it's just to reiterate, it's interesting how these characteristics show up. There's the crescent. There's that immortality. Also, fertility is pretty much across the board. That's uh, one of the prime or primary aspects. There's also the chariot.
Mhm.
So it's really mind-boggling how, like you said, there's like so many different cultures that are separated, yet
Well, it's realistically, the moon is something that is of physical importance to our planet. And so when you start looking at how myths and legends are formed, they're
human men.
they're very similar, you know.
Yes,
But Joe, continue because
yes.
you froze a little
No,
bit.
yeah,
We
of course.
shouldn't defend the goddesses. See what happens.
Exactly. So, um,
Perhaps they're just screwing with us.
new moon magic. Um, I've been excited to kind of get into this because this is something that uh, Gwen has had going on for some time at the shop. So, um, what can you tell us? What can you recall from those rituals that we had?
Well, we were doing before the pandemic kind of disrupted kind of everything in our little world. We did a lot of new moon rituals where we would basically focus on the things that we would want to manifest. Along with, I don't think that part of it wasn't the little money pouches, but that is a new moon ritual because you grow it during the moon as it's waxing, and then you spend it as it's wanting. But a lot of things are done with the new moon. I mean, we did our monthly kind of like a manifesting kind of meditation. We also had another person who Elizabeth comes in and she does a whole creative workshop with the new moon, which is awesome. And she doesn't do it every new moon, but she does do them on the new moon, and she does it on the Chinese New Year too. Um, One of the things that is kind of cool if you're doing like candle magic where you're trying to clear yourself, you do work with the moon, the lunar cycle. You'd want to take your black image candle and burn it all the way down at the full moon, and then wait till it gets nothing, and then you start building up the candles on the new moon, and just you burn the image candles like a little bit at a time because you don't really want to walk away and let the house burn down. So if you're doing like a figure candle, that's how you do it. And a lot of rituals are based on the lunar cycle. Like it's just like planting a crop. You don't necessarily want to do something that's swimming upstream. Use the energy that's there.
Mhm.
That's a big part of it. And of course the seasons become important for that too. And you've got the Aries Supermoon, which is coming up in a couple of days. You want to talk about that, Joe?
Well, yes, the supermoon is occurring on October 6th, and it should be at about 11:47 um, Eastern Standard Time, and it's also known as the harvest moon. It's the
Hmm.
harvest moon because it's the full moon closest to the autumn equinox, and
And it's the first of three supermoons in 2025. So it makes it appear larger, and that does also amplify its astrological influences
Mhm.
of introspection, release, and bold new beginnings. And it definitely. I love Santa Cruz County because the sun sets in the west, and it's this huge super moon comes out, and it's just beautiful. But yeah, And I suppose it looks great coming up on the East Coast too, because then you have it coming up over the horizon. I bet that's very pretty. I don't think I remember seeing it, although I was there. Who knows if I saw it? I was a kid. So, but what do you expect with that supermoon, Joe?
A lot of increased intensity. That's as the first supermoon of this year. The event's going to intensify the energy of the full moon in Aries, making feelings more pronounced and potentially bringing a sense of maybe like surround sound to emotions. Um, and so the uh, significance of it, being the harvest moon, it's a time to examine um, inherited traditions, especially those related to independence and self-sufficiency. According to Cosmopolitan, anyway. Um, and then you have a focus on
Self-sufficiency versus isolation. That's what we have a focus on. And then the idea is that you can reflect on the line between who you're fighting for yourself and with yourself, and you can invite a realization that it's possible to be strong and supported. And there you are, Joe. You're back.
And you know what else
What's that?
the Aries supermoon is great for, which no one really speaks on about, is using that for a glamour ritual, such as releasing negative aspects, embracing authenticity.
Yes, I'm all about that.
Cultivating self-acceptance.
That's a good thing. Oh, maybe that's why I got my windows replaced out in front, releasing the negative aspects of the front of the building.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah.
See, glamour magic at its best. You're welcome.
You're welcome. I mean, thank you. I mean, wait a minute. I got myself confused.
thank you, almighty magically protected garage goblin. So thank you, and thank you for that information on the Aries moon. That was our goblin that actually contributed that. So yay!
Our goblin does a lot behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
And
Yep.
occasionally you hear our goblin in the
Mm-hmm.
background. Woo!
See,
Sorry.
not only am I pretty, I'm actually smart, and that makes me dangerous.
That it does. That it does. In a good way. And look, we've frozen up Joe again. Joe.
See, now he's just embarrassed, so he just froze up. It's fine.
and
It's fine.
Tara-
I'll come back.
Oh no, he's back. We know you're not frozen in
I'm
Tara.
just random at this point. It's like, okay, I'm here, I'm not, I'm here, I'm not, but here we are. So
I mean, the worst thing could happen is you froze up a few times. The best thing that happens is occasionally the screen that you talk.
yeah.
I mean, it's fine. Time is in flux. Nothing matters. And just remember, we're all in this together. So
That's it.
Exactly. And
So
we've actually made it through. We've actually made it through this week. So
we did. I
yay.
mean, we day late and probably a couple dollars too short, but we did it. And I want to point out too that there are a lot of actual books on lunar rituals that are up on my website, which is avalonvisionsproducts.com. And just adding this to the stage, you can also get our Rider-Waite decks. And if you spend $50, you'll get free shipping. So there are other decks out there, but there you can definitely get them online there. And then let me go back to our other little screen there. There's a lot of books on our website. Some of them talk about lunar magic and some of them don't. There's books on tarot. There's lots of other things, and there's a lot of tarot decks up there. So, and you can come in the store and do stuff like, find some of these decks. And one of the cool things that we're going to do in the next 6 months or so is we're going to do more of the groups and classes. And now that some of us are back together on the West Coast, we'll be able to do some more other things as well. And I'm looking forward to beasts, taco beasts, and things of that nature coming this way, and perhaps some classes in the back.
And some of the goblins' little offerings as well. So.
I would imagine so. And we'll be talking about that. Let's look a little more at that next week. The good thing is we got through today with the technical difficulties in all of the same time. Yesterday, I was in no shape to do anything because we got new windows. And I was tired knowing that my employee, Sandy, who thank God lives around the corner and actually is a morning person, was able to get here to let them in to switch out the windows. I was tired thinking about it. 8 a.m, she had to get here at 8 a.m. That's like, I don't think our business day starts at 8 a.m, but hers did that day. And she said that she thought she had a little bit of jet lag, and I got it. So I don't have jet lag. I had it vicariously from my employee, but it was just a little too chaotic for us to get it all done yesterday. And I'm pretty happy that we did it tonight. And so much good information in that. Like, people go to college to learn this stuff. And if you think about it, we're doing this here in our little space here, and people are getting free classes basically here online. So be sure to like and subscribe, because even if you don't quite follow all of it, just think about how much information you're getting in this hour. And sometimes it's a little over an hour because it takes quite a lot to put it together. And I have to tell you that Joe and our garage goblin are magically protected, spiritually aware, hiding behind an icon. Garage goblin are the ones who are putting this information together. So,
oh, that's just because I'm drinking my witchy hot chocolate, which I will have you know, if you add orange essence or even orange zest to, gives you a boost of vitamin C and does help
that's true.
go protect your solar plexus.
Oh, and I want to add something. One of my friends again found actual marshmallows online at Etsy, and I want to plug this lady. Wendy has actual marshmallows made from marshmallow root, which is an entirely different thing from those gooey, sticky thingies that you might add to your hot chocolate. You reminded me with the hot chocolate that they're not. They're chewy, and they're real, and they're, speaking of good for your stomach and solar plexus, it's kind of like an anti-inflammatory cure for so many things. So if you ever get a chance, I actually did post that link to my Facebook page, but she's on Etsy, and oh my God, I'm addicted again. Didn't take long, just one bite. So, and is Joe gone again? Joe is almost gone. Wave, Joe. No, he's there. He unfroze himself. Joe, I'd never understood what it was like dealing with a catatonic, but thanks to tonight's episode, I do.
We should probably end it before it happens again. So yes.
We're going to fix this as far as the freezing up goes, but the new Wi-Fi, there's glitches and there's hitches and there's glitches, and we're going to go to work on it, but we got you here, and that's a big deal because you did not have Wi-Fi yesterday afternoon. So, but now we do. Yay.
So thank you guys for another episode. Thanks for sticking with us. Please hit that like, please hit that subscribe. Check us out over on YouTube. We're also on the Avalon Visions page. So thank you guys so much. We will see you all next week. On time, on Friday. We will be
on Friday.
Yes.
On Friday.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Snacks.
Take care. Ciao. Now we all froze. There.